News 18 Primetime Studio, presented by Green Lamb Laminates. The big story first up, Uttarakhand has become the first state in Bharat to implement the Uniform Civil Code or the Common Civil Code, which refers to one law for all religious communities in the matters of marriage, divorce, inheritance, adoption. So all civil contracts, there will be a common code. Let's try and first take a look at the big takeaways from this mega reform in the state of Uttarakhand. The first takeaway, practices like halala, iddat, polygamy, child marriage and triple talaq can now be completely prohibited. Takeaway 2, the scheduled tribes mentioned under Article 342 of the Constitution have been excluded from this code to ensure the protection of their traditions and customs, the indigenous traditions and customs of the Adivasis, the scheduled tribes, the Vanvasis. Takeaway 3, across all religions, the minimum marriage age has been set at 21 years for boys and 18 years for girls across all communities and religions. Takeaway 4, in all matters or all faiths, equal rights have been bestowed to both the husband and the wife post-divorce or separation. Additionally, remarriage while the first spouse is still alive has been completely prohibited. Takeaway number 5, discrimination, no discrimination made among children regarding property rights, whether they are born out of natural relationships, through surrogacy, or born out of live-in relationships. All children are considered to have equal rights to property. The sixth takeaway, registration of live-in relationships has been made mandatory. The registrar will inform the parents or guardians of the couple registering for live-in relationships, but beyond that, this data, this information will be completely confidential. Takeaway number 7, children born during a live-in relationship will be considered the legitimate children of the couple and will have all the rights of biological children. The eighth takeaway, to prevent disputes among family members over the property of a deceased person, the law provides equal rights to the deceased's wife, children and parents. Now let's decode the national impact post the implementation of UCC in Uttarakhand. This sets a legal precedent for other states to follow. It will bolster the government's plan for a nationwide common civil code. It may promote a pan-Bharat secular approach. Resistance may lead to polarized debates on identity. It could also lead to judicial interpretation and challenges. It could push for uniformity may also give the BJP significant political leverage, because this is one of the last of the boxes that's ticked with the original Jansangh agenda. The Common Civil Code on marriages, polygamy and live-in relationships. For marriages, mandatory registration is needed. Minimum age for a woman should be 18 years. Neither party should have more than one spouse. So registration is compulsory within 60 days. All marriages post the 26th of March 2010 must be registered. A maximum fine of 20,000 rupees will be imposed for not registering the marriage. Same-sex marriage is not allowed under the Uniform Civil Code. The UCC gives equal rights to husband and wife. The second marriage is prohibited while spouse is alive. The UCC also provides rights to all children in case of inheritance. UCC gives equal right for daughters in case of inheritance. In case of live-in relationship, the Common Civil Code in Uttarakhand allows partners to submit statement to the registrar, and the statement will be sent to the local police station where parents will be informed, and if a partner is less than 21 years, children will be considered legal offspring. Uttarakhand is the first state to implement this. Let's also take a look at the scenario in other states. Assam is mulling bringing a bill on the Common Civil Code. The state has already repealed the Muslim Marriage Act. Common Civil Code is being studied for implementation in Haryana. In Madhya Pradesh, a panel to study the law will be formed. In Uttar Pradesh, the decision of Common Civil Code only after consensus has been generated. In Gujarat, a committee to assess aspects has already been formed. So there are many NDA states, BJP-ruled states, who are already seriously considering the Common Civil Code. Some states may take to it soon, some may take it slowly. But if there are 18 states and union territories across Bharat under the NDA, why not implement it across the board is a question. If the agenda is true and the intent is very clear. Now have a look at the arguments for and against the Common Civil Code. The arguments for the law says it gives equal status to all citizens, especially in marriages and civil contracts. Arguments against the law say the naysayers say UCC is difficult due to diversity across Bharat. Another argument is that the law gives more rights to women. The argument again says it encroaches upon religious freedom. But this is all civil contracts, so that's another matter. Civil contracts don't come under the ambit of direct personal faith. Meanwhile, the law cites personal laws have loopholes. The argument against says that a common civil code interferes in personal matters. The argument for the law says UCC actually supports national integration. Those against believe time is currently not suitable for reform, despite the directive principle saying back in 1950s that there should be consensus built and states must work towards a common civil code. Let's listen in to what the Uttarakhand Chief Minister Pushkar Singh Dhami had to say.
यह दिन ऐतिहासिक दिन है और ये केवल हमारे राज्य के लिए ही नहीं बल्कि पूरे भारतवर्ष के लिए आज ये बहुत ऐतिहासिक दिन है क्योंकि आज हम समाज में समानता स्थापित करने से उद्देश्य से बनाई गई समान नागरिक संहिता को देवभूमि उत्तराखंड में लागू करने जा रहे हैं.
The Jamiyat-Ulema-e-Hind has now decided to challenge the decision to implement the Common Civil Code in Uttarakhand, and they will challenge it in court. The question they are asking is why discrimination in the name of a common civil code? The Jamiyat has said if scheduled tribes can be exempted from the constitution, then why not Muslims? So clearly, Muslims as a religious grouping, this aspect of separation, a separate nation, separate law, separate rule theory is what the Jamiyat is underlining. The Jamiyat further, as Jamiyat-Ulema-e-Hind's Maulana Arshad Madani has said, we do not accept any law against the Shariat and our personal faith. So Shariat over Samvidhan is a question that will be asked, and we'll have to see whether knocking the doors of the courts, the very courts that have time and again urged the centre and the state to think of a common civil code, will yield any dividend for the Jamiyat. Moving on, let's head up the other day's political debate here on the right stand. A mega political storm over Netas, prominent personalities, especially from the BJP, taking a dip at the Maha Kumbh 2025. Congress President Mallikarjun Kharge igniting fresh controversy as he targeted Home Minister Amit Shah, Prime Minister Narendra Modi, hours after the Union Minister took a holy dip at the Triveni Sangam at the Maha Kumbh in Prayagraj, and this was earlier in the day. Kharge questioned the significance of taking a holy dip in the Ganga, accusing the BJP leaders of turning the sacred ritual into a competition, while critical issues like widespread poverty remain unaddressed. He said taking a holy dip would not wipe off the sins of the Home Minister and the Prime Minister even after 100 births. Kharge said, and I quote, "Does taking a dip in the Ganga remove poverty? Does it provide food? I don't want to hurt anyone's faith and I apologize if my words have hurt anyone. But while children are dying of hunger, unable to go to school and laborers are not getting paid, BJP leaders are competing to take dips in the Ganga. They keep doing it until they look good on TV. The nation will not benefit from such people." BJP spokesperson and also Lok Sabha MP Dr. Sambit Patra criticized Mallikarjun Kharge's remarks, calling them an attack on Sanatan Dharma. The big question we are asking today is that has the dip or the devotion irked the Congress chief?
अरे भाई, गंगा में डुबकी लेने से गरीबी दूर होती क्या? जब ये है तो ये लोग जाकर हजारों रुपए खर्च करके कंपटीशन पे डुबकियां मार रहे. कंपटीशन में एक डुबकी मारता. मोदी जी और शाह मिलके इतना पाप किए हैं, वो 7 जन्म क्या 100 जन्म में भी स्वर्ग में नहीं जा सकते.
Let's go across and open up the debate. Siddharth Yadav, national spokesperson of the BJP, with us. Tehseen Poonawala, political analyst, joining us. Namaste, Jai Hind, Jai Bharat to everyone. Siddharth Yadav ji, your thoughts? डुबकी लगाने से पाप नहीं धुलते, डुबकी लगाने से गरीबी नहीं दूर होती. That's the analogy drawn.
Anand, I think it is nothing new coming from the Congress party or rather any faction from the India alliance Because we have seen time and again that anything that is concerned with the Hindu traditions, with Sanatan Dharma, the Congress party, their leaders, they fail, never they fail to abuse such traditions, to make mockery of such sacred traditions of the Hindus and Sanatanis. Now, I wish to ask one question. Kharge ji has not gone for the tip. Has Kharge ji's party able to remove poverty in Karnataka? 1,200 farmers have committed suicide in Karnataka after the Congress party's government has taken over. The Congress party of the Karnataka leadership are not going for the dip. Have they done so? Leave that. Can they say this for any other religion? For any other faith? Can Kharge ji say that lighting candles won't remove poverty? Can he come out and say that offering chadars at Dargah won't remove poverty? Why is it that the Sanatan Dharma, the Hindu traditions, our culture is taken for so granted that one can come out and say anything and everything? You want to talk about national issues? You want to talk about anything you wish to raise? You're most welcome. Come out and do it. But what is it, the obsession to say something against the Hindu traditions, that Kumbh has to find a place in your in the abuses that you make against us? You want to abuse Bharatiya Janata Party? You are most welcome. Come and do it. You want to challenge us upon something? We'll come out and answer you. But there is nothing when more than 40 crore people are going to take the holy dip, when such a big sacred festival is happening in the country, where the entire world is watching, the entire world is wishing to come here and take the sacred dip. At that time, a tall leader of the Congress party says this. I think this is most unfortunate, but shows the real face of the Congress party. They have in the past as well. We have seen dengue, malaria, AIDS, corona, what all they have said to Sanatan Dharma and Hindus. I think they have just added one more feather in their cap.
Tehseen?
Jai Hind, Jai Bharat, Jai Samvidhan, Anand. There are three issues. Number one, I do believe that when we speak about any religion, we should not use language and hurt people's faith. I completely agree and concur with that. That is something that I have repeatedly advised the Congress, that don't do it. It hurts people's faith. So to that extent, I do agree. And if you have to be critical, we have to be critical of everyone or not just one. So that I completely agree. But I am unwilling to let go of the larger message which the Congress does not articulate very well, of the tax terrorism, the GST extortion, the hassles that the middle class is facing, the extra large government, the government in your bedroom, in your kitchen, that we need to get rid of. This is a government that is extorting from the middle class, that is completely terrorizing the middle class. And therefore, you have the middle class and the high net worth individuals and the largest brain drain ever in the history of India under this government. But the next point that I want to say, I'm also not willing to debate with the BJP on protecting the Hindu faith. Let's talk on Parliament. Let's not even talk. In Parliament, a Samajwadi member of Parliament, Naresh Agarwal, used filth language for our Hindu gods. Filth language. Samajwadi Party kicked him out. The BJP took him, made him an honorable member. In our Parliament, Honorable Mahesh Sharma ji, then a minister, said Ma Sita is mythical. The BJP, the Honorable Prime Minister was sitting there, took no action on him. He's repeated as an MP from Uttar Pradesh. In our Parliament, Jitendra Singh ji, when asked repeatedly that the ex-Chief Justice Chandrachud ji is asking the current present government, their stand on Ram Setu, the topic on which the Congress lost its power, what is the stand? He says, and I quote, that Ram Setu cannot be visible from the satellites and we don't know anything about Ram Setu. In Parliament, the BJP has spared no chance to malign any faith. In fact, after Stalin's son made those terrible remarks about Sanatan Dharma, terrible remarks, the first top leader that he met was the Honorable Prime Minister in the Honorable Prime Minister's residence, and his father was invited for a dinner with the Prime Minister, the Chief Minister of Tamil Nadu. That's why I think BJP ऐसा कोई सगा नहीं जिसको भाजपा ने ठगा नहीं.
ऐसा कोई सगा नहीं जिसको भाजपा ने टगा. डीएमके के साथ अलायंस कांग्रेस करती है, कांग्रेस को कुछ कहा नहीं. दैट इज ऑल्सो देयर. तहसीन पुना, वेरी वेल डन. ओके, सो कांग्रेस तो गया गुजरा है ही, कांग्रेस तो एंटी हिंदू है ही, बीजेपी भी एंटी हिंदू है. दैट इज योर पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू. सिद्धार्थ.
Anand, I find it funny coming especially from Tehseen, because we are one party, and I wish to remind him and for the viewers as well, we were one party which was abused in the history for speaking the truth. We were one party who could not come to power for so many years because probably what we were saying, we were always termed as ये तो हिंदू वाली पार्टी है, ये तो हिंदुत्व की पार्टी है. We were the ones who were going to jails in the Ram Mandir movement. We were the one who were going to jails in the Jodo Bharat आर्टिकल 370 हटाने के लिए, कश्मीर में तिरंगा फहराने के लिए, चिकन नेक के खिलाफ लड़ने के लिए. We were the ones historically who always said, when Congress party went to the Supreme Court and gave an affidavit that Ram is kalpanik, entire Ramayana is kalpanik, Ram Setu is kalpanik, we were the ones who took the brunt, the political brunt, but stood on our stand and said, नहीं, आप हिंदुओं के खिलाफ, सनातन के खिलाफ ऐसा नहीं बोल सकते. Now we are in power. See what Tehseen is saying. Tehseen is saying, अरे ये लोग तो गड़बड़ हैं, इनका तो ऐसा नहीं, इनका तो वैसा नहीं. I think it is funny coming from Tehseen, because today no party, and we wish to say this with utmost pride, that no party should dare to speak against the Hindu cultures and traditions. It has been taken for granted for so long in history, but it is the Bharatiya Janata Party in center. You should not do it. But despite that, Tehseen's party is in alliance with whom? Who says ये तो dengue malaria है. This entire India alliance, all leaders come out and say, and what does K.C. Venugopal do? Come out and say that ये तो personal opinion होता है. It is the personal opinion of whatever leader has to say. खड़गे जी के सन क्या कहते हैं? प्रियांक खड़गे comes and says, oh नहीं बिल्कुल ठीक बोला. It is like dengue. We have to eradicate. Conferences like eradicating Hindutva, eradicating Sanatan Dharma are being organized in this country in support of Congress party and the entire India faction. The people are watching, Anand. The people are closely watching, and when people like Tehseen say, no, I wish to talk about the larger issues. This is not a larger issue, right? Rightly so. You should go and teach your party leaders. Go and teach Rahul Gandhi, who says मंदिर में जाने वाले लड़कियां छेड़ते हैं. Nobody said in our party. आपके नेता कहते हैं मंदिरों में जाने वाले लड़कियां छेड़ते हैं. Tehseen, go and teach him that. But now you would use terms like tax extortion हो रहा है, tax terrorism हो रहा है. Very easy to say such things when the tax slabs in our country historically have been
I'll tell you what. The ambit.
Very easy to say this, but I think
the day we discuss budget, maybe on the 30th of January, 31st of January, ahead of the 1st of February.
I'm on CNN.
On those days, we will talk budget and we'll talk tax terrorism, etc., and the charges against the middle class, against the government. This topic is what Mr. Mallikarjun Kharge said. Tehseen Poonawalla, did you, me, or Siddharth Yadav, or anybody, or any of the 12.5 crore Shraddhalus who have already taken a dip at the Triveni Sangam so far, did anybody put a gun to Mr. Kharge's head to say what he said? I apologize if I've hurt somebody's sentiment, but I'm going to say what I'm going to say, which is hurtful. What is this? Now, my point is, Congress chief, what is he showing? Is he showing the brevity that is expected of a seasoned politician, that is him? Who is he to turn around and abuse and make it personal with the Prime Minister and with the Home Minister? Why did he have to say, जाके डुबकी लगाने से कुछ फर्क नहीं पड़ने वाला है, गरीबी मिटती है क्या? How can you ask such parallels? तो क्या 12.5 करोड़ लोग जो गए वहां पर, उनकी भी गलती है जाके डुबकी लगाई, प्रार्थना की अपने मोक्ष के लिए, अपने उत्थान के लिए? So there is nothing called spiritualism which any Bharatiya can practice or anybody can. So Dwayne Johnson को भी यही क्वेश्चन पूछेंगे, क्रिस मार्टिन पहुंचा हुआ उसको भी वही पूछेंगे, मल्लिकार्जुन खड़गे. अखिलेश यादव पहुंचे थे, अखिलेश यादव को पूछा क्या जब आप सीएम थे आपने तब भी डुबकी लगाई, अब भी डुबकी लगाई, गरीब मरे कि नहीं, गरीब बचे कि नहीं?
मुझे खुद ही सौभाग्य मिला था कुंभ के दौरान कि मुझे त्रिवेणी में डुबकी लगाने का मौका.
So Tehseen Poonawalla, आपकी डुबकी लगाने से देश में गरीबी खत्म हो गई क्या? Will Mallikarjun Kharge ask you that? Will you like it?
So I'm very grateful for that, and I concede to the point, and I'm starting it, that let's not talk about people's fate, because, and I stand by it, that the BJP is the most middle class anti-business party. But let me ask,
what is the Congress?
Let me expose the BJP's hypocrisy right
please
now.
Take on.
I'm quoting CNN-News18.
Please take on the.
On their hypocrisy.
One minute. Please take on the BJP. After you, please tell me what do you think of the Congress party and the Congress chief's comments?
I don't agree with it. I am very clear. You should not talk about it. I am super clear about it. I have said I was the first one to tweet that what Karunanidhi's grandson said should be prosecuted. He should be prosecuted. I was the first one to tweet. I'm on record. Your channel carried my bite. And unfortunately, he met the Prime Minister first. He met no other leader but the Prime Minister. But I'm not talking about that. I think you should not talk about people's faith. Should religion be discussed? Yes. But all religions, should we mock people's faith? No. No one's faith should be mocked. I'm very clear on my stand. But may I ask the BJP that today is on your channel accusing the Congress of double speak. Currently, the BJP is in government in Uttar Pradesh with Sanjay Nishad ji. I am quoting CNN-News18. I can't even say the word Sanjay Nishad ji has spoken for Lord Ram and his father, Raja Darshan. I can't say it. Anand, you can't say it. The BJP had no guts to break an alliance with him. The BJP was in government with DMK. DMK, while in government, made terrible cartoons of Lord Ram. Prime Minister Vajpayee then went to Chennai, not to break the alliance, to reform the alliance. This is after those cartoons were formed. And the alliance was all sorted out. They went to Karunanidhi ji's house. This is historically the BJP, which is the party of hypocrites. That's what I'm saying. I don't agree with what Kharge ji says. I have the guts to say. But Siddharth Bhai won't have the guts to say what Sanjay Nishad ji said is wrong and throw him out of the ministry. They won't have the guts to throw him out. They won't have the guts to throw Naresh Agarwal ji and his family out. They took Naresh Agarwal ji out after Sappa threw them out. That is the BJP's hypocrisy.
Siddharth
Could I
Yadav.
answer?
Yeah.
Anand, I think Tehseen very well knows, but he's pretending to not know about this. I'll make it very clear, and I say this on record on your show. Nobody in the Bharatiya Janata Party can even think about abusing Sanatan Dharma while being in the party. Nobody has in the past, nobody will in future, nobody in the present can do it or can dare to do it. I say it on record. Whosoever you say either must have done in past, can do in future. One leader we kicked out, joined Samajwadi Party. What he said about Ramcharitmanas? He's still a leader in the Samajwadi Party. What did Ram Gopal Yadav say about the Ram Temple? What has Rahul Gandhi said? What has the son of Mallikarjun Kharge said? What has Udaynidhi Stalin said? All are your leaders. Nobody who can say such a thing will be part of Bharatiya Janata Party or can say such a thing while being a part of Bharatiya Janata Party. It's absolutely clear, Tehseen. You know this. But you will pretend, you will find one or two examples. अरे उसने तब उसको बोला था, फिर बीजेपी ने उनसे मिल लिए. This is the allegation. Someone met someone, and that someone had sent something. Tehseen, I think we should come out of the slumber. When you say, no, it should not be said. I was the first one to tweet then. I would appreciate if you are the first one to tweet today. I appreciate your neutrality when it comes down to such sensitive issues. But if you have that neutrality and you wish to, and if you stand by it, you should go and tweet today that what Mallikarjun Kharge has said is shameful, is utterly shameful, and nobody should have the right to say this. But probably you would also not do it because at the end of the day, it's politics. It's politics for Congress Party. It's politics for the Indie faction.
No, but how is it cool?
See,
my point is, how is it cool to do politics for the Congress Party only on Sanatan Pratha? There is this itch, this perennial itch to try and take a jibe at a Sanatan Pratha or a Hindu way of life or a Hindu tradition or a Hindu ritual or a Hindu festival via the BJP or via something. Why?
I call it.
No, but let me ask you, Tehseen Poonawalla, why has Mr. Rahul Gandhi not told Mr. Kharge, you will not make such utterances? He is a self-proclaimed Janeudhari Hindu, right? On the banks of a river only he showed and sat down and then traced his maternal lines to a Kashmiri Pandit, this one, Kula and Gotra, correct? Why is there no diktat which is said or whip which is said, nothing that offends the faith of Hindus will be uttered, offends the faith of anybody will be. The other faith, so there is never any utterance. The biggest bashing happens only of Sanatan Pratha. So how is that? If that is what the Congress Party practices, then how would one say that they have the hit of Hindus in their heart at all?
So I agree with you on that limited point that first of all, if this is, I don't agree it is freedom of speech, but if it is, then it should be for all faiths. It cannot be selectively for one. I completely agree on that. And I think you should not discuss anyone's faith. Faith is a personal matter to be kept at home or in a
this is coming from the scion of a family whose leader would walk around with a Rudraksha mala around her neck, who openly espoused deep Hindu beliefs. He is the grandson of that lady, the former Prime Minister of our country. And he has not said a single word to all these utterances, be it Mr. Mallikarjun Kharge or Mr. Priyank Kharge or Mr. Udaynidhi Stalin. He has not said a single word. Why? How is it par for course? Now the same thing, had any Congress leader said anything about Muslims or Muslim faith, Islam, or about Buddhism, or about Christianity, Do you think the silence would have been so deafening?
So I'm again saying, no fate should ever be. Should
Correct.
Not
No, but
it's all
you
about
saying it
very
is
clear.
no. My point
Yeah, I
is,
agree.
I don't want to.
I-
I don't want to bring the linkages and the connections. But I'm just saying that if you can say it, then why isn't Mr. Rahul Gandhi saying the same thing, Tehseen? That's my limited
my
point.
answer-
You're not an
my
office
answer-
bearer of the Congress party.
Sure, I'm not.
He's a
But
Congress
my answer
MP.
to that
He's a
is-
Congress MP. He's a scion of the
He's the tallest leader in the party.
of the Nehru family. He's a scion of the Nehru family, and for him to not take a position on this, that this is not kosher, this is not going to be accepted, that is something which is disappointing. I've got big news coming through, gentlemen. I have to pause this debate, go across to this. Prime Minister Narendra Modi and Donald Trump have spoken. President Trump and Prime Minister Modi have spoken on the phone at length over bilateral issues between the two biggest democracies. That's the update coming through. How long was this conversation? What are the issues that were discussed and who called whom? Let's ask Siddhant Mishra. Yes, Siddhant.
Well, that's right, Anand. This is the first telephonic conversation between the two leaders after the oath ceremony on Jan 20th. Before this, Prime Minister Modi dialed Donald Trump to congratulate him on his election victory. This particular phone call is very, very significant, Anand, given that America has extended a special invite to India for the swearing-in ceremony. EMS Jaishankar was Prime Minister's special envoy, and he was made to sit in the first row, upgrading his protocols, and where his other counterparts were sitting on the second and the third row. So it talks about the deepening ties between India and United States. In fact, it also talks about the importance that the Trump administration is going to give to India. On the first day, they held a Quad foreign ministers meeting. The second engagement of Marco Rubio was the bilateral talks with EMS Jaishankar, and now both leaders have spoken at length on bilateral issues. Perhaps this would be the second time that both leaders would be working so closely. In fact, in the first tenure, Anand, it had a very successful first tenure of Donald Trump, and we saw India and US relationship touching new heights. This time around, in fact, same is expected, and the hints have already been dropped. The signals have already been dropped in the first few days or by the Trump administration.
Right. Thank you for your input, Siddhant. We've got to get into a short break. When we come back, yet another big exclusive news break. Our security affairs editor Manoj Kumar Gupta getting us some startling details of what's happening in the northeast. And there is a drug tunnel that's now been found. A drug tunnel between Myanmar and Mizoram. Stay with us.
U.S. President Donald Trump said on Sunday he would impose sweeping retaliatory measures on Colombia, including tariffs, sanctions, and travel bans. The move comes after the South American country turned away 2 U.S. military aircrafts, with migrants being deported as part of the new U.S. administration's immigration crackdown. Trump's swift action appeared aimed at making an example of Colombia, to dissuade other countries from defying him on deportation flights. He said Colombian President Gustavo Petro's refusal jeopardized U.S. national security, and has directed his administration to take retaliatory measures. That includes imposing emergency 25% tariffs on all goods coming into the United States, which will go up to 50% in 1 week, as well as a travel ban and visa revocations on Colombian government officials and its allies. Petro condemned the practice, suggesting it treated migrants like criminals. And in response, Colombia threatened a 50% tariff on U.S. goods. According to the State Department, the United States is Colombia's largest trade and investment partner, and Colombia is also the U.S.'s third largest trade partner in Latin America. Mexico also refused a request last week to let a U.S. military aircraft land with migrants. Trump did not take similar action against Mexico, the U.S.'s largest trade partner, but has said he was thinking of imposing 25% duties on imports from Canada and Mexico on February 1st.
Si los deportan de otro país, tienen que recibirlos acá porque este es el país de ellos. Que el presidente no acepta eso, pero si uno viene al país de uno, ¿cómo es posible que no lo acepte? Eso es ilógico, ¿no?
Nos afecta como tal porque lo que vamos a dejar es de recibir como tal toda la gente que está exportando sus mercancías, lo que va a hacer es detener completamente el comercio de nosotros como colombianos ante los Estados Unidos, o sea, nos va a perjudicar completamente.
Pues la problemática es que el señor Petro debe pensar mejor con cabeza fría, no tanto ideológicamente, sino qué nos conviene como país. Entonces creo que toca pensar más.
It's not a big change. We'll see the numbers, but the conditions have been very similar or are very similar. It's about, the beginning of a new administration and also ideological difference as well. But it's going to be interesting to see how.
Back on with a big exclusive input from Intel sources, and it's been shared with us by our Security Affairs Editor Manoj Kumar Gupta. Now, with the Directorate of Revenue Intelligence or DRI recently unearthing a hidden tunnel built for smuggling of drugs along the Mizoram-Myanmar international border, News18 has exclusively accessed an intelligence report on how the illegal trade has become a quote-unquote shadow economy. Intel sources called it a global nexus which helps drugs from Mizoram reach Bangladesh, Nepal and Southeast Asia via Assam and Manipur. Sources have said that the India-Myanmar shadow economy is worth about 30,000 to 40,000 crore rupees. And there's more. Mizoram and Myanmar have more than 500-kilometer long porous border. Now, this is surrounded by dense forests, rivers and difficult terrain which make surveillance impossible. Moreover, only 10% is actually fenced. First, the drug cartels use the Champai district of Mizoram to enter Bharat due to its proximity with the Tiao River. The second choice is the Zokhauthar region, a village close to the border. The third is Siaha and Longtlai districts, which are remote areas and there is limited surveillance. These areas are used to move drugs into Assam and beyond. From India, the shipments move to Bangladesh, Nepal, and then the Middle East. These drugs are transported by locals, fake components via fake components in trucks, bamboo logs, and also food supplies such as rice sacks. So we'll try and show you a cartographical representation of these three regions, but we also have Colonel Shantikumar Sapam, spokesperson of the Meitei Heritage Society, joining us. Colonel Sapam, these three regions have been named, and somewhere one gets to believe that the fight not necessarily is ethnic or on religious lines. That just seems to be the surface. The underlying aspect seems to be who will control the drug trade, and to ensure that this region remains disturbed or remains under perhaps militant control.
Good evening, Anandji. In my younger days, I had visited this Champai town. It was a beautiful town. But over there, when I heard this story, this news, though with various aspects, elements playing in, it did not come as a surprise to me because a lot of funds are being involved in this. Let's talk about, let's say, Chinese are also involved, and the US with the Burma Act and the drug money from Manipur and, poppy plantations and various things going on. This kind and the deep agenda of the Christian state. With all these things playing in my mind, though the tunnel is very big, it says that a truck can go inside.
Yes.
So, I think it is not only for drugs. It will have many agendas in this. any nefarious activities can be, through this tunnel. And, if a vehicle is going through in that, there will be heavy stuffs are going to be transported in terms of, let's say, RPGs, then weapons and ammunitions, and, even manpower also. In the beginning of 2024, there was a information that, 900 people had come and all those things. Then in this case, may come on the vehicles also. In olden days, sometimes around 40s and 1950s, that time, the French colonial power in Vietnam, they were defeated by the Vietnamese, through the tunnels. A lot of tunnels used to be there, even they used to hide even RT guns. They used to come out, they used to bring out fire and then hide again inside the tunnel. So what I feel is, I'm very sure that the Indian government must be very serious about this, fact which has been exposed just now. And but a lot of deep agendas are involved in this. This is what I want to say. And the news you have just said regarding the Prime Minister speaking to the President of US, the development and with his relations, I think the Burma Act will have a little setback. This is my, immediate, thinking. This is what I feel.
Let's understand what happens with the US and Bharat strategically to try and control some of these issues is one part. But there is also that this entire region, Myanmar actually falls as part of the Golden Triangle. Portions of Mizoram and Manipur they want to control because they want easy access into Bangladesh, into that bay, and also to be able to access the sea routes to further cart this into other parts of the world. But how is it that we can stop or limit this progression? Is there a solution? Because China has also in its history borne the brunt of opium addiction. The opium war happened. The Brits also colonized China by growing opium in Bharat and sending it across there or selling it there. And they plundered both economies in both countries. But can we not learn from this? Or is the money too so much and the involvement of certain big pharma, certain other entities so deep that we cannot crack this, we cannot put an end to this?
Yes, it is very deep actually. Even in Manipur, if you see, the Golden Triangle is basically shifting towards Manipur. So the Chief Minister started taking action that then poppy plantation should not be in Manipur. So he started destroying all these things. So, if you see in YouTube also, if the country, every citizen of India, if you see in YouTube, you will be able to find the poppy plantation. If you have to just see in YouTube, poppy plantation in Manipur, and everything will be, on the screen. But what happened was in my younger days and still now also, there are many drug addicts. It was, when it was transported through Manipur before. Now, because of this clash, the drugs are not going through Manipur and it minimized. I will not say it's not going through Manipur, it is minimized now. But, those days, those transported drugs and some of them stayed in Manipur. And with that, a lot of youths are spoiled. Many drug addicts are there. And for that instance, even in Mizoram also, a lot of drug addict youths are there. Till today, now also, and a lot of AIDS case also there, which they did not declare. But in case of Manipur, a lot of AIDS case were also there, but they were declared, and it was controlled as far as Manipur is concerned.
Right.
But the drug money is so much. Anandji, I'll tell you, the drug money is so much that every person,
yes.
It's something like if you see some good meal, there's water in the mouth. It's something like that, I think. And
that's what they say that the drug market in Manipur is twice the size of its actual economy, or so 35,000 crore and 60,000 crore. Here it's about 30 to 40,000 crore. Mizoram, Myanmar itself. So these are concern areas, and I think people of Mizoram and people of Manipur need to rise above these ethnic issues and understand the larger game at play. Thank you very much. We've got to pause there, take a short break. When we come back, we are in conversation with actor, director, producer Kangana Ranaut, who believes that the Gandhis must watch Emergency. What would Dadi have thought about her pota? Stay tuned to listen.
Co-powered by
U.S. President Donald Trump said on Sunday he would impose sweeping retaliatory measures on Colombia, including tariffs, sanctions, and travel bans. The move comes after the South American country turned away 2 U.S. military aircrafts, with migrants being deported as part of the new U.S. administration's immigration crackdown. Trump's swift action appeared aimed at making an example of Colombia, to dissuade other countries from defying him on deportation flights. He said Colombian President Gustavo Petro's refusal jeopardized U.S. national security, and has directed his administration to take retaliatory measures. That includes imposing emergency 25% tariffs on all goods coming into the United States, which will go up to 50% in 1 week, as well as a travel ban and visa revocations on Colombian government officials and its allies. Petro condemned the practice, suggesting it treated migrants like criminals. And in response, Colombia threatened a 50% tariff on U.S. goods. According to the State Department, the United States is Colombia's largest trade and investment partner, and Colombia is also the U.S.'s third largest trade partner in Latin America. Mexico also refused a request last week to let a U.S. military aircraft land with migrants. Trump did not take similar action against Mexico, the U.S.'s largest trade partner, but has said he was thinking of imposing 25% duties on imports from Canada and Mexico on February 1st.
Si los deportan de otro país, tienen que recibirlos acá porque este es el país de ellos. Que el presidente no acepta eso, pero si uno viene al país de uno, ¿cómo es posible que no lo acepte? Eso es ilógico, ¿no?
Nos afecta como tal porque lo que vamos a dejar es de recibir como tal toda la gente que está exportando sus mercancías, lo que va a hacer es detener completamente el comercio de nosotros como colombianos ante los Estados Unidos, o sea, nos va a perjudicar completamente.
Pues la problemática es que el señor Petro debe pensar mejor con cabeza fría, no tanto ideológicamente, sino qué nos conviene como país. Entonces creo que toca pensar más.
It's not a big change. We'll see the numbers, but the conditions have been very similar or are very similar. It's about, the beginning of a new administration and also ideological difference as well. But it's going to be interesting to see how much the United States can do and how massive are the deportations that he is promising. Colombia is not the main trading partner, the most important trading partner with the United States. However, because of the asymmetries between the two economies, of course, the United States can impose for a short term tariffs on the imports from Colombia, and this is going to be devastating for the country. So it's an instrument to pressure this nation in any single form. And this is also a sign to other countries, particularly a sign to Mexico, because there are more things that the United States were going to negotiate with Mexico, particularly in in immigration. Colombia no es el principal socio comercial de los Estados Unidos y las asimetrías son enormes. La economía de Estados Unidos es mucho más grande que la colombiana y no depende de la economía colombiana. Obviamente hay una relación comercial importante, pero Trump puede hacer esto a manera de, obviamente, de presión hacia Colombia y también como mensaje hacia otros países, en especial a México, porque con México
Kangana Ranaut ji, namaste. Thank you for making the time. And I'm speaking with you post facto, यानी पिक्चर देखने के बाद, रिलीज होने के बाद मैं आपसे बात कर रहा हूँ. तो मुझे सबसे पहले तो आपको कहना पड़ेगा फिनोमिनल वर्क.
थैंक यू.
जो शिद्दत आप अपने हर प्रोजेक्ट में दिखाती हैं वो इस प्रोजेक्ट में भी देखने को मिला. पर मैं सबसे पहले आपसे पूछूं, जब आपने इस प्रोजेक्ट को उठाया, सब्जेक्ट को उठाया, तो आपको नहीं लगा कि आप शेर की गुफा में घुस रही हैं?
बिल्कुल, ये बहुत ही सेंसिटिव प्रोजेक्ट है और आपने देखा होगा ऐसी चीजें लोग इमरजेंसी को देखने के बाद में कह रहे हैं हमें पता ही नहीं था. ये बहुत ज्यादा सुनने को मिल रही थी. इनफैक्ट अबाउट मिसेस गांधी, ऐसा लोगों को लगता कि ब्रीफ टाइम शायद एक बार प्राइम मिनिस्टर रही होंगी, एक ब्रीजिंग थ्रू हर वन टर्म एज अ वेरी प्रिविलेज्ड पॉलिटिकल किड दैट शी वाज. लोग समझ नहीं सकते कि 30-40 साल का पॉलिटिकल करियर और क्या उनका उस टाइम पे जज्बा था, जोश था, और उसके बाद में क्या क्या उन्होंने स्कैंडल्स किए, कंट्रोवर्सीज की, जिनकी आज देश विदेश में इतने स्कैंडलस और इतने कंट्रोवर्शियल नेता शायद ही कोई रहे होंगे जितने की मिसेस गांधी. एंड कंप्लीटली सिनेमैटिक, जिसे कहते हैं इट इज लाइक अ ड्रीम स्क्रीन प्ले इज मेड ऑफ such people who are just so controversial.
पर इस
barely make history.
पर इस ड्रीम स्क्रिप्ट ने आपको काफी नाइटमेयर्स दिए. इसका अनुमान लगाया था आपने?
नहीं, मैंने कलाकार मासूमियत से जो है वो इसमें मैं पूरी तरह से डूब गई और फिर कई ऑब्स्टिकल्स आए. पॉलिटिकली ये फिल्म किसी के साथ अलाइन नहीं करती है ना, राइट के साथ. तो वो भी एक बहुत बड़ा तो हर तरफ से जो है मुझे पॉलिटिकली ऑब्वियसली एवरीबॉडी स्केप्टिकल के कि ये फिल्म ऐसे बनाया क्यों. तो बट एट द सेम टाइम आई जस्ट फील दैट एज एन आर्टिस्ट आई हैड टू डू दिस वाज माय कॉलिंग. कोई लॉजिकल रीजन, मैं हमेशा कहती हूँ जहाँ पे मैजिक है वहाँ लॉजिक नहीं होता, और लॉजिक होता है वहाँ मैजिक नहीं होता. सो दैट इज हाउ इट इज.
यहाँ तो मैजिक तो था, लेकिन जैसे आपने कहा ना लेफ्ट की है ना राइट की है. ये सेंट्रिस्ट होने का आपका यू प्लान्ड इट दैट वे कि जब आपने रिसर्च किया, जब आपने किरदार को समझा और इंदिरा जी की मनस्थिति को समझा कि कहाँ से आई और वो सत्ता की बात किसने उनको बताई और कहाँ से उसका मैनिफेस्टेशन था, बहुत डीप रूटेड था ये साइकी में उनके. तो जब आपने ये सब समझा तब आपको लगा कि नहीं, जो है वही बताऊंगी, अब जो जहां जिधर. कैसे आपने सोचा इसको?
नहीं, वो जो है तो बताना तो वही पड़ेगा, क्योंकि यू कांट मैनिपुलेट फैक्ट्स. व्हाई वुड यू? अगर आप आ रहे हैं, यू नीड टू प्रॉपर डॉक्यूमेंटेशन, यू नीड. आप करेंगे भी क्यों मैनिपुलेट? क्योंकि जितनी खूबसूरत एक वास्तविकता होती है, हम उतनी कभी भी बैठ के भी हम इतनी स्क्रीन प्ले नहीं लिख सकते जैसे कि, और जो इत्तेफाक, जो कोइंसिडेंसेस रियल लाइफ में होते हैं और स्क्रीन प्ले में हम करते जब मन. ये हम हमेशा कहते हैं कि जो हमें रियल जिंदगियां होती हैं उनसे बहुत प्रेरणा मिलती है. इसी तरह से मिसेस गांधी की जो लाइफ है वो चाहे स्कैंडलस रही हो, लेकिन जब एज अ कलाकार आप किसी भी अपने सब्जेक्ट को अप्रोच करते हैं, यू हैव टू बी डीपली सेंसिटिव. अब फिर चाहे वो गब्बर सिंह हो, चाहे वो ठाकुर हो, चाहे वो कोई भी किरदार हो, तो उसी तरह से मिसेस गांधी को बहुत डीपली देखते हैं, उनकी अच्छाइयाँ, बुराइयाँ. और ये चीज़ लोगों को सबसे ज़्यादा अच्छी लग रही है कि आप मैंने जिस संवेदनशीलता से क्वीन के किरदार को या थलाइवी के किरदार को या दत्तों के किरदार को, और मेरी एज एन आर्टिस्ट सबसे ज़्यादा जो मुझे प्यार मिलता है लोगों से और सम्मान मिलता है, वो आई थिंक माई एब्सोल्यूट कंपैशन इवन फॉर पीपल. जैसे फैशन का जो किरदार है
जी,
तो एक तरह से इवन तनु का किरदार, अब तो खैर उसके बहुत ज़्यादा वो बने हैं, वर्जन्स बन चुके हैं वो, बट उस टाइम पे पहली बार हिंदी फिल्म की अभिनेत्री ने इस तरह से जिसे कहते हैं ना, वो चाहे वो सिगरेट उठाना, चाहे लड़के घुमाना, इस तरह से उनके प्रति भी जो पुरानी फिल्मों में शायद वैम जानी जाएगी, उसको भी संवेदनशीलता से. ये मेरी एक ड्रेस थी और मेरे एक किरदार, एक कलाकार होने की जो है सबसे मैं कहूँगी एक आकर्षक पहलू है.
नहीं, इस पहलू को बनाए रखना आसान नहीं है, बिकॉज इट कम्स विद इट्स फेयर शेयर ऑफ क्रिटिसिज्म, फेयर शेयर ऑफ पीपल हु जज यू. यानी आप किरदार कर रही हैं, टाइटल इमरजेंसी है, तो ये इस तरह की पिक्चर होगी, इसका कुछ एजेंडा होगा, ये आपको हर्ट नहीं करता कि लोग पहले से ही आपको जज कर लेते हैं?
जितनी उनकी क्षमता है, जितनी उनकी बुद्धि है, वो उतना ही सोचेंगे, उससे बाहर वो सोच नहीं सकते हैं। तो मुझे उनसे कोई शिकवा नहीं है, कोई गिला नहीं है, क्योंकि हर कोई इंसान जो है कोई बड़े विशाल व्यक्तित्व वाला तो होता नहीं। 99% लोग जो है छोटी सोच के होते हैं, और छोटा जिसे कहते हैं मास ही होते हैं। एक बड़ी सोच, बड़ी रुतबा रखना सबके बस की बात नहीं है। तो ठीक है, बट ये फिल्म देखकर जो लोग जब बाहर आ रहे हैं तो उनको समझ आ रहा है कि मेरी क्या सोच है। उन्होंने की सोच ये बनाई है कि उनको लगता है कि मुझे ऐसा लगता है, तो वैसी बातों का कोई मतलब नहीं। उनको लगता है कि मुझे ऐसा लगता है, लेकिन मुझे ऐसा नहीं लगता है। मुझे जो लगता है वो ये लगता है जो कि इमरजेंसी में है।
तो ये बात आप पहले फिल्म के रिलीज होने से पहले कितने लोगों को समझाने की कोशिश कर रहे थे कि अरे बाबा देख तो लो? तो
ज्यादा फिल्म लोगों को, और खासकर आई थिंक जितना मुझे इस फिल्म को अभी भी कई जगहों पे बैन किया गया है
जी,
लोग हैं जो सुनने को ही तैयार नहीं है बिल्कुल भी, और मैं चाहूंगी कि गांधी परिवार भी देखें, उनको देखनी चाहिए। और फिर वो अगर उनमें है कुछ, जिसे कहते हैं ना कि अंतरात्मा, हमारी फिल्म में कहा गया अंतरात्मा की आवाज, उनकी दादी में तो थी एक अंतरात्मा, अगर इनमें वो है तो उनकी अंतरात्मा से भी यही आवाज आएगी कि ये लड़की शी इज अ ट्रू आर्टिस्ट एंड विदाउट एनी प्रेजुडिस, जो कि शायद वो कभी नहीं इस तरह की, they will never be able to brag about this, but I can look at any person without any prejudice.
पर वो तो आपको प्रेजुडिस नजरों से देखते हैं, आप किसी को प्रेजुडिस से नहीं देखते, लेकिन वो तो आपको प्रेजुडिस से देख रहे हैं।
हाँ, मैं वही कह रही हूँ कि they will never be able to brag about it.
तो हाँ, पर ये आपको हर्डल नहीं लगता है? आपने, अच्छा एक और बात मैं आपसे पूछना चाहता हूँ, आपने इतनी बढ़िया फिल्म बनाई, आपने इतनी शिद्दत से इसको किया, फिर व्हाई डिड यू से कि अब मैं पॉलिटिकल फिल्म नहीं बनाऊंगी?
No, because I have done a lot of, अभी मैंने जयललिता जी की भी की, फिर मैंने ये वाली फिल्म भी की। अब मैं महिला हूँ तो महिला की ही रोल कर पाऊंगी, जाहिर सी बात है। और बहुत कम महिलाएं जो हैं वो इतनी सक्सेसफुल रही हैं, नॉट इन नियर फ्यूचर, बट आगे जाके मैं देखूंगी, चाहूंगी कि मैं सुषमा स्वराज जी पर कोई फिल्म बनाऊं।
तो ऐसा नहीं है कि आप पॉलिटिकल फिल्म नहीं बनाएंगे, अभी के लिए नहीं बना रहे?
नॉट इन नियर फ्यूचर।
एक और, आप खुश हैं कि आप दुखी हैं कि जिस तरह से इस फिल्म को ट्रीट किया गया, जितना इसको विलंब हुआ, सेंसर बोर्ड से भी काफी टाइम लगा आपको, और कई जगह मेरे को लगा पिक्चर में कई जगह कुछ स्निप हुआ है, क्योंकि वो एक ब्रेक लगा लिंक में टूटता हुआ?
नहीं, दुखी होने का तो कोई मतलब नहीं है, क्योंकि हर एक फिल्म की एक अपनी, जैसे एक इंसान की एक अपनी किस्मत होती है, अपनी डेस्टिनी होती है, फिल्म की भी अपनी डेस्टिनी होती है। और ये फिल्म लोगों तक पहुंच पाई, मेरे लिए ये भी बहुत बड़ी बात है। और इतनी मुझे लोगों से प्यार सम्मान मिल रहा है इस फिल्म के करके, जो मैं हूँ एज अ कलाकार। आई थिंक एक नॉच तक तो मैं आई थी कि जैसे लोग सब कहते हैं कि आज कलाकार हुई नहीं है फिल्म इंडस्ट्री में, लेकिन एज अ फिल्म मेकर मैंने इतनी मेहनत की। इंटरनेशनल लेवल की जो फिल्म बनाई है, कितने लोग बना सकते हैं? मुझे तो लोग ये इतना भी कह रहे हैं कि ऐसा बॉलीवुड में तो आज तक कभी किसी ने ऐसी फिल्म बनाई ही नहीं। तो वो आपने पता है कि एक कलाकार के हैसियत से मैंने कितना जो है बारीक और कितना फाइन वर्क जिसको कहते हैं,
ये अटेंशन टू डिटेल, फ्रेम बाय फ्रेम, ये तो मैं मानता हूँ, क्योंकि हर फ्रेम में एक जेन्युइनिटी लगी, एक और मैं दिल से कह रहा हूँ, इसलिए नहीं क्योंकि आप मेरे साथ इंटरव्यू करनी है, एज अ व्यूअर मैंने उसको no seriously because I'm not trying to flatter you, I'm just saying genuinely I felt that in each frame there was an effort to try and keep it as genuine as possible, as real as possible. But are people genuine with you? Are people real with you? Have you in this journey of making this movie और फिर उसकी रिलीज तक, क्या आपको भी दिख गया कि जिनको आप रियल समझते थे, जिनको आप समझते थे कि वो आपके साथ स्तंभ की तरह खड़े रहेंगे, उन्होंने ही आपसे पल्ला झाड़ दिया?
ऐसा तो नहीं होता। मैं देखिए, अब राजनीति जो है वो एक बहुत वास्ट सब्जेक्ट है, और इन दैट स्कीम ऑफ थिंग्स फिल्में और इंडिविजुअल और एक इंसान इंडिविजुअल बहुत ही छोटा होता है, इन द लार्जेस्ट स्कीम ऑफ थिंग्स। तो मेरा वजूद और मेरा अस्तित्व बहुत छोटा है उस हिसाब से। और जो लोगों को मैंने सोचा था मेरे साथ खड़े रहेंगे, एक्चुअली में ऐसे आज तक कोई लोग बने ही नहीं है। हमेशा आई एम नॉट समबडी जो कि मैं आई थिंक इट शुड बी वेरी मच क्लियर फ्रॉम माय वर्क कि अगर मैंने लोगों को क्रिटिसाइज किया है या मैंने लोगों को फिल्म इंडस्ट्री में अट्रोशियस फिल्म बनाने पर जो है पॉइंट आउट किया है, या मैंने जो है तो लोग महिलाओं को जो है एज ऑब्जेक्टिफाई उनको किया है, तो आई वॉक द टॉक. इट्स नॉट आई वॉक द टॉक. I can make a very fine film. I can show an elderly woman with grace, with dignity. I can also make a world-class film in that language. So I walk the talk. First of all, I think that should be given to me as a person, as an artist. That is the need of the hour. That is what I deserve, and that is what if I gain from this film, it will be for me because I walk the talk. That is number one. Number two, I have never ever. Kind of have the thought that, okay, I don't like that group, but this is my group. I am against groupism.
जो अनुपम खेर जी हैं, जो जेपी जी का किरदार निभा रहे हैं पिक्चर में, कहते हैं एक बार इंदिरा जी के बारे में कि स्वार्थी हो गई, वो देश के लिए नहीं अपने लिए, सेल्फ के लिए कर रही. और फिर वही किरदार इंदिरा जी का बाद में जाकर जयप्रकाश नारायण जी से क्षमा भी मांगता है. तो डू यू थिंक दैट शी मूव्ड फ्रॉम, और फिर शुरू में आपने दिखाया कि वो असम में रही, असम छोड़ा नहीं क्योंकि वो भारत एक रहना चाहिए, अक्षुण्ण रहना चाहिए. तो यू थिंक इंदिरा जी का किरदार कहीं ना कहीं बीच में भटक गया था? एक बात कहते हैं कि आपने संजय गांधी को बहुत ज्यादा ओवर इन्फ्लुएंस्ड दिखा दिया, बहुत ज्यादा उनका इन्फ्लुएंस ऑन इंदिरा जी दिखाया. आप क्या कहेंगी इस पर?
My film is out there for you to understand from. I think there is nothing more to say. There's nothing. My film speaks for itself. और I think इससे ज्यादा इलेबोरेट करना तो मतलब जरूरत भी नहीं है और का मतलब भी नहीं है. ये जो है मोस्टली it will not be wrong to say hey, Mrs. Gandhi was a right-wing leader. It would be entirely wrong to say that. अगर उनका एवोल्यूशन चाहे वो अपने पिता से पल्ला झाड़ने में हुआ है, या उनके रेगुलर रेफरेंसेस टू भगवद गीता, या उनके हमेशा जो राइट विंग की अप्रोच होती है, राइट विंग की अप्रोच इज इन मेनी वेज जो है अगर कॉन्टेक्स्ट उसका राइट ना हो तो और कई कहते हैं कि वो हिटलर से भी इंस्पायर्ड थे. So, you can't completely deny the possibilities of, जो कि शायद राहुल बाबा को पता नहीं है, बट उनकी दादी जो है was a very right wing in her thinking also. तो ये जो इनका अभी नया है, ये एक अलग इनकी पॉलिटिक्स है.
आज का कांग्रेस तो पूरा ही लेफ्ट हो गया है. हाँ, अल्ट्रा फार लेफ्ट हो गया.
जैसे अपने जैसे नेताजी हो गए या बाकी कांग्रेस से जुड़े हुए बाकी लीडर हो गए. कांग्रेस 1 और 2 हुआ करती पहले, राइट विंग लीडर्स थे. नेहरू जी वाज लेफ्ट विंग. तभी उसने एक स्पेसिफिक मेंशन किया है कि केरला में उन्होंने कैसे राइट विंगर्स के साथ में, जिनको गांधी जी एक्सट्रीमिस्ट कहते हैं, ये ज्यादा सोफिस्टिकेटेड वे में मैंने बताया है, बहुत फुल फीडिंग नहीं की है क्योंकि इट इज फॉर मैच्योर ऑडियंस.
Greenlam Laminates presents CNN-News18 Primetime Studio.
Good evening, you're watching Brass Tacks with me, Zaka Jacob. We're coming to you live from the CNN-News18 Primetime Studio presented by Greenlam Laminates. We've got a piece of breaking news coming right at the top of the show, and this concerns Foreign Secretary Vikram Misri's visit to Beijing. He's on a 2-day visit to Beijing. They put out a readout. A formal announcement has now been made for the resumption of the Kailash Mansarovar Yatra between India and China. Both sides have agreed to resume the Kailash Mansarovar Yatra starting the summer of 2025. It had been suspended for the last 5 years since the Galwan clashes in June of 2020. Relevant mechanisms which are in place will be put into effect to discuss the modalities as per the existing agreements between both countries. Both sides have also agreed to resume direct air services flight connectivity between India and China, between Delhi and Beijing, and Mumbai and Shanghai. These are the two big developments out of the Foreign Secretary's visit to China, two-day visit to Beijing. Let me go across to Siddhant, my colleague who has more details on this. Siddhant, how big are both these decisions, the resumption of the Kailash Mansarovar Yatra and also the resumption of direct flights?
Well, these two are very significant decisions, and in fact, Zaka, from day one, we have been reporting that India's position has been very clear that there cannot be discussion on any other bilateral issue unless the border issue gets resolved. So in October, when Foreign Secretary announced for the first time that a patrolling agreement has been locked between India and China, perhaps that has opened the gateway to have a discussion on other bilateral issues. Prime Minister Modi and Xi Jinping met in Kazan, after which NSA Doval went to Beijing, and perhaps he held talks with Special Representative of China Wang Yi. And now we are getting this release from Ministry of External Affairs, perhaps confirming there are two major takeaways from this visit of Foreign Secretary to China. One, resumption of Kailash Mansarovar Yatra. This has been a long-standing demand of the Indian side. In fact, when NSA Doval also went to Beijing, at that time also resumption of Yatra was discussed. And the second, direct flight. China was pushing for direct flight from India to China, and in fact in last 5 years since the Galwan clash, the direct flights to China were cancelled, and now we could see that direct flights between India and China will resume. These are the two major takeaways from Foreign Secretary's visit to China, Zaka. And in fact, now we can say that there is a normalcy in relations with China.
All right, Siddhant, we'll leave it at that. We'll see how this story plays out between India and China. I want to now go across to our big focus story to start off Brass Tacks. Uttarakhand has become the first state in the country to roll out a uniform civil code. It is a historic move because up until now in India we've only had uniform criminal laws but never had uniform civil or personal laws. Personal laws in the country pertaining to matters like marriage, divorce, succession, etc. have always been differentiated basis religion. So there's one set of personal laws for Hindus, another set of personal laws for Muslims, another set for Christians, Sikhs, etc. Uttarakhand is now paving the way for a nationwide UCC. Critics say that this will destroy the secular fabric, it will endanger personal laws, and ultimately violate the fundamental right to religious freedom guaranteed in the Constitution under Article 25. But is that a valid argument? Does that hold water? We'll put that to test through the course of this program. But first, let's bring you up to speed with what practical changes will now happen in Uttarakhand on the ground. Practices like halala, iddat, polygamy, child marriage, and triple talaq will now be completely prohibited in the state of Uttarakhand. There are some exemptions that have been mentioned in the UCC for Uttarakhand. Scheduled tribes, as mentioned under Article 342 of the Constitution, have been excluded from the civil code. Across all religions, the minimum age of marriage has been set